Well, hello, folks. Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. Welcome back to the channel. Glad to have you with us. I just got this email. Maybe within the last half hour, possibly even I think it was within the last half hour. But I tell you what, here at the Jeff Daugherty Show, Christian Whistleblower YouTube page, we do not let the grass grow under our feet. No, sir. Rebob. No, we do not. So this is a fascinating speculation. And I did offer this, my friend here, a chance to come on the show. He said, nah, I didn't want to do it. His name is Matthew. You didn't see what his last name was. And besides, there's a whole bunch of them. And I'm not going to tell you where he's from. But I wanted to give it right out of Matthew's email. Number one, because it's very well presented and it's very well laid out. You can tell he has a good mind. And number two, I wanted to... It's just a nice layout, and I wanted you to see that it is from a subscriber, and I want you to know how much we value subscribers around here. And I want you to continue to subscribe. I want you to send me your thoughts, your questions, your answers, and I want you to post the URL. And why don't you put the URL in the box? Because if I put it in as a URL, it highlights it, but it cuts the end off. So that's why I say copy the URL. You know, just go to my channel, or even right where you are if you want to do it that way. You just go up and copy the URL, which is in this box right here, right? And all you have to do is just you can double click it. Do you see what I did? I just went up there and went click, click. I don't even have to click, click. Just go up there and click. Bam. There it is. Right click, copy. Then you can paste that onto your social media. Now, it will just put up the one video that you're watching, but that's okay. Because if they come and they like the one video, then they will stay and watch other ones, and we want them to subscribe. Now, if you're a little more advanced, go to the home page of the channel, copy that URL and post it, because that's probably a little bit better. But hey, we want this to be easy. Hey, hello, Jeff, and I'm going to do a little talk probably about this word. Hey, Jeff, I've been thinking of how the false flag story of Revelation could actually be pulled off in the real world. Could this be possible? Well, Matthew, I hope to not think it is possible, yes. But I also think that through our work and the work of others like us, there's not many yet. So that's why I say through our work, predominantly through our work. Now, doesn't the new headset sound good? It's actually not a new headset. It's a headset that I purchased when we were on terrestrial radio. And I'm running it through a humble little mixing board that I had when we were on terrestrial radio. But it sounds much, much better. And thanks to my stepfather, Joe, who said, hey, your sound is kind of sorry. Step it up. And that's exactly what we're doing. And thanks for that. And could this be possible? Yes, it could be possible. But if we do what we should be doing, then no, it won't be possible. And I know tithing isn't real. I know tithing is part of the slavery mentality. I know tithing was super duper Old Testament. But think of how much good it did for the people of that time. Maybe we can take something that was meant to be evil and turn it around and use it for good. Just something for you to think about. Just some speculation. So let's go on and say, how could a false flag of Revelation actually be pulled off in the real world? Well, number one, a large portion of the world's population is already currently indoctrinated and waiting for a rapture. I've talked about that on the air before. You've got 1 billion Christians, and probably conservatively at least 300 or 400 million people are believers in the rapture. So there is a great number of people already ready. Rapture ready. They're rapture ready. They're ready for that trumpet to sound. They're ready for the zombies to come out of the ground, and they're ready to go up there and hang around. Yep, they're ready. So a large portion of the world's population in Matthew's scenario is indoctrinated, waiting for a rapture. Step 2 in his scenario, Jesus returns, of course we're talking about plastic Jesus, takes up his rapture believers as they will give themselves freely. Maybe a fake return would be done with something like Project Bluebeam. Maybe they get stamped on or marked as they are the ones freely submitting themselves. But maybe this is actually the mark of the beast, and they just don't know it. Now, we never go past a word that we don't understand, because that'll inhibit our understanding of the rest of the presentation. So I understand it, but I want to make sure all of you do. We're going to take a quick look at what is this thing that Matthew brought up, Project Bluebeam. And I intentionally chose a source that would be antagonistic towards what we're talking about, to look up Project Bluebeam. Project Bluebeam is not Project Blue Book. I know a lot of you are thinking of that government project, Project Blue Book, which was, Project Blue Book was a United States Air Force study into unidentified flying objects conducted from 1952 till 1970. The Air Force summary of Project Blue Book was that no UFO reported, investigated, or evaluated by the Air Force was ever an indication of threat to our national security. Bullshit. Pardon me. And there was no evidence submitted to or discovered by the Air Force that sightings characterized as unidentified represented technological developments or principles beyond the range of modern scientific knowledge. Crap! Pardon me. Something in my throat. And there was no evidence indicating that the sightings characterized as unidentified were extraterrestrial vehicles. Horseshit! Whew, need a drink. And it collected almost 13,000 reports. And yeah, that's Project Blue Book. But we're talking about Project Blue Beam. Now, like I said, they're antagonistic for the UFO study done by sane people. See Project Blue Book. But Project Blue Beam is a conspiracy theory that claims that NASA is attempting to implement a New Age religion with the Antichrist at its head and start a new world order via a technologically simulated second coming. Now, I have to be honest with you. I have to confess that I didn't know anything about Project Bluebeam. I guess I've been too busy studying sane subjects. But no, I didn't know anything about Project Bluebeam. But of course, my book, Final Message of the Last Apostle, Alien Agenda in the New Testament, really is Project Bluebeam. And I just didn't know that it was Project Bluebeam. Because the rat bastard, oh, for those of you that are new, that's the Lord, Yahweh, Marduk, Jehovah, rat bastard. And he didn't have a daddy, so it really is accurate characterization. So don't tell me I'm impugning his character, because it's actually accurate, according to Gnostic thought. At any rate, we digress. Actually, I digress. So they are trying to create a new world order with the rat bastard at the head via a technologically simulated second coming of the rat bastard. Or it's possible that the rat bastard might have a fleet of sub-rat bastards in rat bastard craft. You've heard me talk about that before. Sorry, I was going to try to pull that off straight, but it didn't work. The allegations were presented in 1984 by Québécois journalist and conspiracy theorist Serge Monast. You were kind of impressed I could say Québécois, right? Because I had a Québécois girlfriend in Las Vegas, and that's all we'll say about that. Hello, Natalie, if you're listening and watching. And later published in his book, there's the name, Project Bluebeam, NASA. Proponents of this theory allege that Monast and another unnamed journalist, who both died of heart attacks in 1966, imagine that, they just died of heart attack. They allege they were in fact assassinated and that the Canadian government kidnapped Monast's daughter in an effort to dissuade him from investigating Project Bluebeam. Now, I may be called a conspiracy theorist, but when the two guys that are pushing this information both die of heart attacks, and one of them just happens to get his daughter kidnapped. Oh, sometimes, folks, when there's huge billowing clouds of smoke, there might be a spark of flame in there somewhere. But at any rate, the project was apparently supposed to be implemented in 1983, but it didn't happen. And then we're talking about 95, 96. Now most people are talking about what, September whatever of this year. Are you really gonna fall for another crazy end time? Here it comes. I mean, it was just a little while ago. It was, oh, it's all over at these red moons at the feast, and then I remember, man, you know what? I remember all the way back to 88 Reasons Why the Rapture will happen in 1988. We've been doing this forever, boys and girls. You know what's going to happen on September 23rd, 17th, or whatever? The same thing that happened on May 23rd. My birthday. It won't be my birthday, but don't let yourself get caught up in that crap. It's crap. I got to get me a little cover and cover my peas. And of course, Project Bluebeam, I got my blue shirt on. I don't have my blue jeans on, trust me. You don't want to know what I have on under this desk. But anyway, that's what Project Bluebeam is. So, Jesus returns and takes up his rapture believers as they will give themselves freely. Maybe it's a fake return with Project Bluebeam. Oh, I see. The rapture could be very well be a technological fakery. If you have read my book, Final Message of the Last Apostle, we talk about astral holographic technology. And it is, by the way, $199 right now. Maybe they get stamped on or marked as freely submitting themselves. That would cause people probably to rebel. I would have to say probably ixnay on that. Or maybe they would say, oh, well, you know, this is the holy, this isn't the mark of the beast, this is the mark of the Lamb. Because we're signing up for the rapture, so it's the mark of the Lamb. Right hand. But actually it's the mark of the beast. Now, I don't know if Matthew has heard my teaching about the mark of the beast, but it very clearly states in the book of Revelation that the mark of the beast is generally any impressive coin or money, and specifically the coin that Constantine instituted as mandatory legal tender in the Roman Empire about 325 AD. So that's what the mark of the beast is, according to the Bible. Don't matter if you like it, don't matter if you believe it, don't matter if you want to believe it. Sorry. If that's an issue for you, I can send you a tissue. And then those rapture believers actually are saved. This is brilliant. And it's outside of my box, so that's why I wanted to bring Matthew on, but we'll do the next best thing. We'll just talk about Matthew's material here, with his permission, by the way. The rapture believers are actually saved as they're removed from the tribulation war. And again, I'm not literal as Matthew is on tribulation war, but they could certainly start some kind of a war. Or it could be very well be a Georgia Guidestones kind of thing. We know how many people that we want to pick. We know how many people that we want to have. How many did the Georgia Guidestones say they wanted? So the Georgia Guidestones, again, we don't go past anything we don't totally understand. And I mean that, folks. If you're reading something or if you're looking at something and something comes up that you don't have total clarity on, you must stop right there. You must stop right there. And clear that word, clear that concept, understand what it is, because if you read past anything that you don't understand what it is, your capacity to understand what you read after that word is diminished by as much as 60%. Well, I don't agree. I do that all the time, and I understand. Oh, do you really understand just well? Or maybe you just don't understand what you don't understand. I'm trying to help a brother out, trying to help a sister out. So the Georgia Guidestones was erected in 1980 in Elbert County, Georgia. It's written in Babylonian, Classic Greek, Sanskrit, and Egyptian hieroglyphs. But for our intents and purposes, all we're talking about is the fact that it calls for the maintenance of the world population under 50,000. So we have 7 billion right now. You might as well say 8 billion. And they want 50, I believe it's 50 million, right? And we've got 8 billion. I'm a Bible college graduate, not a math major, but I know that's a lot of dead people between 88 billion and 550 million. I believe it is 50 million, isn't it? Oh, we're not going to be able to zoom in. I'm pretty sure it's 50 million. Does it say what it says on it? Inscriptions, yes. 500 million. See? That's why we check. So 500 million is half a billion. So if there's 8 billion people now, give or take, that means there's 16 halves of billions, and they only want 1/2 a billion. So 15 halves. So 15 times 5, 5 times 5 is 20. 7.5. I did that the hard way, didn't I? 7.5 billion people. Well, no, even more than that. 500 million versus 8 billion. It's a lot of people. And I hate to laugh about dead people, but you know what I'm talking about. So that's what the Georgia Guidestones are. So they would, what if they, if it's not, because he talks about tribulation war, I don't buy that. There's always going to be war, but I don't believe there's going to be a tribulation. That's just Christian nonsense, foolishness, gobbledygook, silliness. So anyway, taken to bunkers prepared by the rich, elite, evil bastards. I like this guy. That rule the world community. Bunkers possibly in the poles, most likely at the North Pole. The reason I say the North Pole is there's been a lot of activity in this region with world leaders and elites. Now think about this for a minute. I think Matthew's on to something. Got to make sure his name is Matthew. It's Matthew. They're taken to the north. I think Matthew's on to something. There's a lot of things going on in the Arctic, of course, which is the North Pole. No, that's the South Pole. There's still a lot of things going on in the North Pole. And it would make some sense. You could do this. You could sell it as, come sign up for the rapture. God told us to sign you up. We'll give you the mark of the Lamb. If you don't, how about this? If you don't take the mark of the Lamb, you automatically get the mark of the beast. So now we know who really loves the Lord. And hurry, hurry, step right up because it's a limited time only offer. This heavenly timeshare won't last long. I sold timeshare for a lot of years, by the way. And once we get to 500 million, we got to cut it off so people sign up. Then they get raptured, and they're taken to some place of safety. These raptured people have a nice life. They have great celebrations. And they live in peace and safety while the rest of the world is destroyed with nuclear weapons. I follow his logic now. They take these people underground into bunker systems where they can live. And speaking of the Project Bluebeam, when I was in, I don't usually eat these. This is one of my weaknesses, but the reason I bought them was not to eat them. I bought them because I saw this on the back. Whoops. Good thing they're not open. And this has to do with the whole cube thing, the Project Bluebeam thing. This is what I noticed, and it was like, this looked to me like a cube, even though it's all stylized. I guess it's a little maze. But they're not very subtle, because look what's right next to it, a cube. So we're even preparing kids, and look how they're kind of being whooshed up. Now the cube's taking them away. Come on, little... I can't get my Irish accent working right now. Come on, little children. Come with Lucky the Leprechaun. Come in the big cube. We're going to go up and away, up and away. Come on, little children. In the cube. So maybe Matthew's right. They're preparing people for all kind of stuff. There's hints everywhere. And that's on your friendly Unlucky Charms. You too can win by getting on the cube. You never know what you're going to get on the Jeff Daugherty Show. Christian Whistleblower, New Cosmic Knowledge YouTube channel. Once the dust settles, pardon the pun, and the elites and the raptured emerge from their bunkers, then the New World Order and the one world religion will take over. And of course, the rat bastard is probably running this with his sub-rat bastards in their rat bastard bunkers. And because the elites don't want to work and they like to dictate, they'll then release their 500 million captors. And I will bet you a lot of money that if you do the math, that it would take probably to farm, to implement, to maximize the utilization of the planet's resources, I bet you it would take, about 500 million people. Somebody, one of my people that's not a Bible college graduate and actually has a little bit of sense, please look that up for me. See if you can find something like that. Oh, look at that. I think Matthew might have already done that. They'll release all the raptured out of their bunkers back into the world to get things back up and running. Only this time they're controlled and the reduced population is more manageable. And they're united under the one world religion. Does everyone have a pretty good handle on the UN Agenda 21, depopulation agenda? But basically it's just like the Georgia Guidestones. They want to reduce population of the earth to 500 million people because they say that's sustainable. So there's that tie-in I was looking for. Now, as a further note, if you Google when it would be safe to emerge from a bunker after a worldwide nuclear war, it's around 7 to 10 years. And Matthew's working in his fits quite nicely with the tribulation time period. The indoctrinated like to believe, I'm with you, Matthew. It's not you, it's the I got you, my brother. I'm with you. So he's talking about the tribulation war, which they're going to use as an excuse. Yes, indeed. I'm with you, Matthew. My faith in you is restored 100%. I was down to about 91.67, but now we're back up to a full 100. And it does fit in with what the indoctrinated like to believe. Plants could grow again after this time, but the affected country would have to import the seeds from an uninfected country, but in this scenario it wouldn't be possible. Interesting. So if you nuke the world to reduce the population to what you want it to, and you do so through a false flag alien invasion or something of the sort, only problem is all the seeds are irradiated and they won't grow. So what are you going to do? Oh, don't worry. The elite have already solved that problem for you. Your friendly neighborhood Monsanto dealers have already solved that problem for you. Plants could already grow, but you'd have to have seed that is not irradiated by the radiation. And guess what, folks? We'd bring to you the seed vault of Svalbard. It's a secure seed bank in the Norwegian island of Spitsbergen. Now, I'm just guessing here. I'm going to go out on a limb, but I'm guessing there's probably not a very dense population in Spitsbergen, near Longyearbyen, in the remote Arctic Svalbard archipelago, about 1,300 kilometers from the North Pole. So they've got these seeds in a vault that is built to withstand even nuclear catastrophe. How about that? Do you like apples? How about them apples? They got you covered. Nice work, Matthew. Nice work. So maybe being saved actually means being slaved. He's been listening to me. Because he ain't coming back to save you. He's coming back to slave you. Yep. Good work, Matthew. This is very studious. And the Norwegian government paid for it. $9 million for the construction of that seed vault. Interesting. So maybe being saved means being slaved. But if the raptured are happy and the world is a more peaceful place, then I guess this would be complete fulfillment of the prophecy for them. And who knows? Maybe they will be assimilated and memories of the old world wiped away so that they weep no more as the old world has passed. I was just thinking, I mean, the Jehovah's Witness would be very, very susceptible to this. Could this possibly be a viable prediction? Matthew, I say, indeed, yea. Yea, saith I. This could very well be a viable prediction. Like you say, Jeff, the only thing that would stop this is if the people wake up and unindoctrinate themselves. The more people that become aware of this dung, I really like this guy. This would stop the willing volunteers, and they would actually need a few million willing volunteers from the population to get the new world up and running. What do you think? I think they would probably want the whole 500 million. Matthew, I think that this is some good stuff, Matt. Oh, from the UK. So all the Matts in the UK now are worried that they're going to get labeled as being an indoctrinator. I think that's very good. See, like I said, wow, you want to come on and discuss this with me? And he said, well, you know, probably not. And you can't blame a guy. Very, very interesting. I would say astoundingly interesting. And I would say yes, yes indeed. You're right on, Matt. Be a Matt. Be an unindoctrinator. Share. Like. Subscribe. Consider sponsoring my work through PayPal and through Patreon. Every dollar we throw right back into the work, and we appreciate you. Thank you, Matt, for this great idea. And just to review it real quick, what would happen is that you would have, number one, a large portion of the world is already indoctrinated. Check. Number two, plastic Jesus returns, takes raptured believers as they will give themselves freely. I've said that, and I think he's read my book. He must have. And maybe you say, I'm adding this in. Matthew didn't say it. Come get the mark of the Lamb. We're going to put it on your left hand. And see, it's like the Kabbalah people, left hand of reception, which it kind of really is. We'll put it on your left hand, hand of the Lamb. And then those raptured believers are taken into bunkers. The rest of the world's destroyed. They get to their 500 million. They emerge, let people free under one world leader named the Rat Bastard. Or maybe they'll call him the Royal Bastard by then. And then after about 7 to 10 years, which will line up with people's idea of tribulation. Oh no, we can't grow anything. Don't worry. We've already saved a bunch of seed over there in Norway. So I think, yes, Matt, it is a very viable prediction. Thank you for sharing it with us. And with that, we're going to conclude this broadcast of the Emergency Christian Whistleblower Anti-Rat Bastard System. This is a real emergency. And you are being directed to the proper places for safety. I'm Jeff Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower, helping you unwind your mind so you can unindoctrinate yourself. And remember, folks, be excellent to each other.